Right, let's begin. Okay, I hope my screen is visible. So today we will discuss about software development life cycle and how is it related to DevOps and what model is preferred in real time. So in previous session we discussed about course overview, and in the previous session we have seen the roles and responsibilities of a DevOps engineer, and we have seen different designations that have been put under DevOps these days, and we have discussed about the tools related to that and tech stack things. So in this session we are going to cover software development lifecycle, the models that we have currently, and we are going to see how Agile has excelled DevOps performance optimize performance. So basically, this Agile under Agile we have Scrum and Kanban. So this has been helpful to not only developers, to not only testers. It has helped DevOps engineers to be more productive and resourceful at the same time, right? So let's see how it has been excelling this performance related stuff. All right, so um, let's begin with very basics. Okay, so let's say you wanted to travel from point A to point B. Okay, let's say you have like 100 kilometers to travel and you want to go. So you have many ways to do it, right? Like you can walk, you can go by bus, you can go by car, you can go by bike, you can go by helicopter if it is affordable and you have all the resources to do that. So the way that you perform the things makes the time differences, right? If you walk, it takes 100 kilometers each day, 10 kilometers, and it will take 10 days to complete 100 kilometers. And if you take bus, it will take 3 hours. If you take by car, you can go by 2 hours. If you go by bike, it might be anything around 1.5 to 2 hours. So, and if you go by helicopter, it will take hardly 30 minutes or even less, right? So what matters here is the time consumption that is uh, been. So the target is same, you are performing the same task, like you are going from point A to point B is the ultimate goal, but how effectively are you performing it? So that's what matters, right? So let's say now let's plan from point A to point B. Let's plan how we should go by walk, right? So you have to see the roadmap, you have to analyze it, you have to see whether you have all the safety features, whether you if by walking, if some robbers might come, someone might come and do. So you have to be properly equipped, you have to have sufficient enough food, you have to have proper lodging and boarding. So while walking you have to take care of all these things, waters and all, water, food and all. So you have to plan it, right? You have to first see, analyze the plan, design the plan, and then you have to start implementing it, which means like daily 10 kilometers you should walk. So you have to analyze, first you have to create a route map, then analyze it, then create the requirements, what are the requirements you need to walk, and then you start doing step by step, right? That's what you're targeting. Now let's say you wanted to uh, go by car. Okay, so first you have to, first thing is you have to have a car. Which car? Petrol, diesel, electric, you have to take care of it. And then you have to have sufficient fuel, and you have to have sufficient uh, uh, the food and all if required. So basically you need all the basic requirements. You need to have a proper road, right, from point A to point B. So you are analyzing it, creating a route map, and then you are starting at one point, right? So in this approach, if you similarly, if this particular approach, if you take it to software development, let's say you wanted to create an application. So what kind of application, what is the functionality of that application, what are your target customers? So first you have to think that, which means um, the business level model, first thing. Second thing is you have to talk about technical model, so you have to create high level design. Then First is the basic requirement gathering. So with the business model that you are creating, you have to understand what all the requirements does that particular application need, right? So you have to do that. Second thing is uh, taking the requirements into high level design. So you have all the requirements. Let's say I wanted to create a online bookstore app, right? I want to create an online bookstore app. So what all you need different types of books, you need different types of uh, books, I mean like comics, suspense thrillers, the funny ones, the life biographies, and then you have a lot of other different books. I'm not a big book reader, so I don't know much, but yeah, if I wanted to create a platform to sell my books through online, what are the things I need? I have to segregate all the books, and then I have to have two different accounts. One is admin account, the other one is user account. And as an admin, let's say I am managing my application, so I have to know what all the stock I have and what all the things I have to sell and what are out of stock. So I have to create a payment gateway, I have to have the shipping related details, and then I have to manage it, the database part, users, previous orders, current orders in progress. So I have to manage different things. So I want to design a particular online application, and from the user perspective, he has to log in first, he has to sign up and then log in, and then he has to select the book, and then he have to add it to book cart, and then you have to go for next all those stuff, payment, and then address, and then you have to put an order. So these are the high level requirements. So we have high level requirements. Now let's make that. So we have requirements analysis. So this is about after software development life cycle, where we are seeing different stages of it. Okay, so now we have requirement analysis. Now we are defining them. So defining means like each requirement. So you have different requirements, right? You have to plan it first, what you need, sign up, then what, login, then what, books, different types of menu, then what, create a cart, then what, create a payment, then what, address. So you have to design it, you have to define which requirement comes first and then which requirement goes next, like that. Okay, so these are the things that is taken care by product owner and scrum masters, and then high level developer architects and all the big guys. Okay, so in the industry with more experience and all. Okay, so that is where defining comes in. Now designing. So this is where high level design comes into picture, and then low level design. High level design gives you a complete picture of how your application will should be, and low level design is something that developers were pitch in and then write the code. So low level designs come from high level design, HLD, LLD, low level design, high level design. So we create those high level and low level designs, and then developers start coding it. Okay, so developers start coding it. Now so once developers write the code, they will send it for testing. So they'll create an artifact, deploy it on testing environment. So now testers comes into picture, so they will do the functional testing, performance testing, different types of testings they do, and then it will go for deployment. So where you actually deploy it for the end customer, and end customer can access it on particular URL, one particular URL. So that is where deployment comes into picture, and maintenance. So upgrades you normally see, right? Your mobile system upgrade, application upgrades. So that is what maintenance work is. So maintenance work, and again based on the feedback of the customers, like my payment is not working, or these books are missing, or can you segregate it in more cleaner, better way. So you have lot of things that you get in the feedback, and you take that feedback and again start analyzing the requirements, and then again design, again change, modify your designs, and again start designing it, and then so it is a continuous process. So in the same way, like you want to travel from point A to point B, like how you have designed, and then you have analyzed it, and then you have you're segregating each point, like analyze, then define, take a bus or take a walk or take a route map, all those things that you are defining first, which one should come. So that is where defining comes in, and then you have requirement designing phase, high level design, low level design, and then you start implementing it, which you start by car, or you start by walk, or you start by bus, or you start by helicopter, doesn't matter, or you have train as well, which I forgot. So you can do any of those. So that is where software development life cycle comes into picture. Now, any questions so far? Do you have any questions? I'll just give a pass. I'll leave it to you guys. Any questions? If you have, do let me know. I'll take that as no, and I'll proceed further. So now, creating SDLC is not the end goal, right? Any Okay. So creating a particular analysis model doesn't end it. So you have created software development life cycle, and that is the end of it. So see, it is about like you are switching your career upgrades, like you are switching your company or you are switching your domain. So for what purpose you need? So for more financial stability, for more opportunities, for more designation oriented, like you want to become a lead architect, like that. So there are a lot of things you basically wanted to enhance yourself. So software development life cycle also works in the same way, right? If it has ended here, it will be like that only. But anything should start from very basic, right? Any design, any model that comes in today's market has very basic thing called the software development basic life cycle model. From there everything gets enhanced, right? So that is where the basic is very important, and this is how it started. Software development life cycle is started, right? So there are different models in software development life cycle. First model is being waterfall model. So we'll discuss about it. So first is waterfall model. We have agile model, which is very latest, and we have safe agile, and which is very advanced. Let's not discuss, we are not becoming a scrum master. We just wanted to analyze on our DevOps related, and how does it improves DevOps efficiency and the day-to-day activities, right? So we will discuss about it. And then we have spiral model, validation and verification model, which we call it as V model, iterative model, incremental model. We have lot of models. We don't want to go deep inside everything, we don't need that. All we need is waterfall model, agile model. So how is it different? So waterfall model is the first model that came into picture, and then how agile model is very latest advanced model, how, and many people are using it, and we have to learn it because we have to see how it is working, right? So I have concentrated more on waterfall and agile model. Okay. Now, when do you start using it? So when there was no agile, when there was no V model, when there is no spiral model or incremental or iterative model, when there was no when there is no derivatives of these models, the first model that came was waterfall model. Okay. So what does a waterfall model mean? So it was very fast, and it was still some companies uses waterfall model, which is the core banking, or some applications which doesn't need rapid changes, which does not have very rapid changes, and it was very legacy related applications still fall back on waterfall model. And what we'll see what waterfall model is. So so it is so waterfall model is a step by step approach of each and every software development life cycle process. Okay. So requirement gathering. So what happens is, whenever a product owner wants a particular product, okay, so he will take the requirements from the client, he will create all the requirement gatherings, and he'll do the requirement analysis first. So when he is doing it, other all people will be sitting idle. Okay. So the developers, architects, scrum masters, coders, testers, everyone will be sitting idle, as simple as that. Or they might be working, so but they need some requirements, so one what they will be working on, right? So if they don't know what they are working on, then how can they create patterns, how can they create code, how can they create testing frameworks, So first thing is requirement analysis, where product owner or scrum masters will be working on, and other all people will be waiting for the requirements. So the linear approach. Now once requirement is done, then next step will go where defining the requirements one by one, and then high level designs and designing phase, high level design, low level design, and then coders. So till you get to the coders, it is still step by step. Even after getting into the coders, developers should write the code and give it to the testers. So testers will write frameworks on what developers have written, and then they will apply it on the code, and they'll see what kind of functionality is working, what kind of functionality is not working. So they will define all those things. So it is a step by step approach, which is not very efficient way of using the resources here is manpower, human resources, and the efficient way of using the hardware as well. Okay, so let's say I got the requirement. By getting the requirement, I have understood that I have to work on something. Now I have to create a testing environment and production environment, which needs some set of CPU, RAM, servers, OS, operating systems, certificates, all those many other things I need, and I have to purchase it in hand. Right? I cannot purchase at the last moment. I have to keep it everything ready. So till coders complete their code, till I deploy it on the testing environment, I have to purchase and keep on waiting, which is not a right way to do, because you are wasting the time and money both. Right? You cannot do that. So that is where it is inefficient. When you go for a step by step approach, I'll go only one, I'll take one step, which will take long time, and then it has its own advantages as well. When you go step by step, everything will be nicer, cleaner, and everything is tested properly. But if you go step by step, there is a lot of disadvantages where you are not using your resources properly, be it machine power or manpower. Your performance is project performance will not be good. You are releasing your releases very lately, and your deployment is not very frequent. Right? So that is where waterfall model has lot of disadvantages on performance related. Right? It's a step by step approach, divides the development process into distinct phases such as requirement gathering, design, implementation, testing, deployment, and maintenance. Each phase must be completed before moving to the next, making it ideal for projects with clear and unchanging requirements, which is step by step approach, which needs some time to complete and then go switch for next phase, which is not a ideal model. So it is a failure. Not failure, I cannot say it is failure, it is not efficient, performance efficient. Okay, so I'll give a pass. Let me know if you have any questions. Any questions, any doubts? No? Right, I'll switch for agile model. So this is where things get interesting. Agile is a very advanced model, and safe agile is too advanced. So let's only stick on to the agile model. So agile is an so what so I'll tell you the real applications of waterfall model. So when your requirement is not changing, right? So let's say in waterfall model your requirement is fixed, so you have only one requirement. One second. Okay. So coming to waterfall model, the requirements gathering, each phase. One second, where did I miss? Okay, so requirement analysis. So when your requirement is not changing at a particular time, which means uh, you have all the requirements gathered and it is not going to change. You have fixed your requirements and it is not going to change in the middle. So during that process, during the process of designing, coding, testing, so your requirement should not change. So when you have a static requirement, then you can go for waterfall model. So the real application is when you don't have frequent changes on your application, and all the changes or all the requirements are fixed at particular point in waterfall model. That's where waterfall model comes into picture. Now, when do we use agile model? When you have a dynamic changes, when you have dynamic changes on your requirement, or your requirement changes or enhances very frequently based on the feedback, so that is where you can use agile model. Okay, agile model focus more on iterative development. What does iterative development means? So let's say in agile model, um, so there will be different teams, right? Development team, the testing team, the operations team, planning and designing architects, everyone will be there. So what happens during this phase? So iterative model is something like every thing will be segregated into bits and pieces. So what does bits and pieces mean? So basically it is divided into sprints, equal sprints, like it will be ranging from 1 week to 4 weeks. So each sprint can range from 1 week to 4 weeks. Each sprint will be having a certain amount of time where developers, testers, operations engineer, architects, everyone will be working parallelly based on the requirements. Let's say first set of requirement is given, and the architect has created the high level and low level design, and it is given to coders, and they started coding it in the first sprint. Now in the waterfall model, you have to wait till you complete the next complete the testing, and then you have to see whether new requirement came in or not. But in agile model, you don't need to wait for new requirement. So you have already product backlog. Once you deliver the sprint, let's say you have 5 tasks this particular sprint, which is spanning for 1 week, and you have delivered it. You don't sit idle for until it completes, till testing completes, deployment completes, and get the feedback, and again start new requirement. There will be already product backlog where you will be having a set of requirements on based on the priority. On the sprint model, you pick that in the next sprint. After 1 week, second week, you will be working on the on the existing product backlog, or any feedback that came in the middle of the previous sprint. You take that, you start working it again. Developers will work, testers will parallelly see the upgrade the frameworks, and deployment team enhances the automatic deployment, or they'll do work on different automations and stuff. And like that, the cycle continues because it is an iterative model. So you are iterating your requirements, your coding, your testing, your maintenance, deployment and maintenance. You are iterating step by step, one by one, but in a parallel manner. You don't need to wait for something to get complete and you start the work. So you keep on working on different things parallelly. At the same time, you'll be getting the feedback of the previous one, which you will be again parallelly working on. So that is a complete life cycle. Means like you are iterating the dynamic changes that you get, and you are upgrading your system itself directly. So that is where you see very frequent OS upgrades, application updates, and many other things. So on mobile, or laptop, or whatever you see on the driver side, or any all these things comes because you are upgrading step by step on iterative basis, which means you are working on step by step, but you are parallelly doing other stuff also. Like let's say from your point A to point B, here you have planned everything, and then you have started. You are stopping for food, eating food. Okay, let's say you have created the route map. You have to call the requirements for your work, and then after some time you are hungry and you wanted to stop and eat it. In agile model, it is not like that. You'll be doing, you'll be walking it. So you start, the point A to point B. So from where you wanted to go, point A to point B, and the route map, and you start walking it. In between, you start doing this next level requirements. Like you divide your point A to point B into multiple chunks and pieces, like every 1 kilometer or every 5 kilometers you divide it. You put a target, so 1 kilometer to 5 kilometers I want to walk it in 30 minutes, or maybe 2 hours or 4 hours. So you want to walk in this particular time frame, and you set the plan. You started walking to first 5 kilometers. So during this, you are getting hungry and you wanted to drink water and food. both you wanted to do. You don't need to stop to do that. You can walk eating slowly, like you can do that both things at a time. And then from after 5 kilometers again you start from first, and again you will finish another 5 kilometers, which means 10 kilometers. So your big target, which is 100 kilometers, has been divided into bits and pieces, and you are targeting from first 5 kilometers, right? 1 to 5 kilometers, and from 5 to 10, so like that. So when you see target into small bits and pieces, even you will get motivated, and even you can concentrate on that particular only 5 kilometers. In between, if you need anything, you can actually do it parallelly. You don't need to wait for longer durations, or wait until I reach 10 kilometers and then only I need to eat food. Where stop there, I eat food and then again start. It is not like that. You are targeting both the things at the same time, right? So that is where agile model comes into picture. And you see, agile model, it is not a fixed requirement. Like I said, it is not point A to point B. Let's say after 5 kilometers you got a new thing where you don't need to run walk another 5 kilometers at the end. All you have to do is 1 to 95 kilometers rather than 100 kilometers. So your requirement got reduced. Let's say you have to walk another 20 kilometers because you have confused with one requirement, and after understanding it carefully, your house is bit 20 kilometers longer, and you have to again change your iterative model. You change the requirement. Like you have, instead of walking 5 kilometers, you started walking 6 kilometers in the next call, from 5 to 11 kilometers, from 11 to 13 kilometers or 12 kilometers, like that. So you are basically upgrading your model itself with the changing requirements, right? Your requirement now is, first initially it was 100 kilometers, now it is 125 kilometers, and then you have upgraded your plan as well from 6 to 11 or 12 kilometers, adding 1 kilometer extra, which is again going to be the same timelines and the same thing, but you have to walk little extra. So that is where agile model is more efficient. I hope you understood this. Though I did not talk more technical, it's more of a process related, which you all should understand going forward, right? Let me know if you have any questions, or else I'll go further. Stop me if you have any questions. I don't mind. Okay, so agile model focus on iterative development, where requirements and solutions evolve through the collaboration between cross-functional teams. Cross-functional team is nothing but development team, design team, the testing team, deployment team, the operations team. Many teams involves, and it is going to evolve. It is going, your requirements, your the feedback, everything goes for a task where you get the changing requirements, changing feedback, and you start working on the dynamic changes of the requirement. So that is where agile model is like that. Let's say phone pay app or Google Pay app, initially it was designed to only transfer money from one point to another point, one customer to another customer. Now it has been designed to add electric bills, the mobile recharges, the online banking systems. You have lot of things there now. So the insurance, if you see phone pay, you have insurances, you have lot of things. So do you think phone pay has developed only for money transferring thing? No, it has understood the market, it has seen Paytm, it has seen other things, and it started adding other application features, which gives a good analysis of your ticketing to your tickets. You can buy flight tickets, you can buy some you can do recharges, there are, you can buy insurances. Like it has been evolved over a period of time. So it has understood the market, it's keep on adding, which means a dynamic environment it has created, and it kept on increasing day by day. So that is where agile model is more efficient than waterfall model, because it would have taken ages for it to complete the same process. Like let's say phone pay, if I want to add one feature by feature, step by step, it won't work. It will take ages for entire application to complete. So agile model has helped it to excel it, right? So that's about agile model. Which SDLC to choose? So out of waterfall model or SDLC, agile model in SDLC, which model to choose? It is very simple. Like I said, if your requirement is static, it is not changing very frequently, you can go for waterfall model. If your requirement is dynamic, which is always there in the recent market and recent times because of the changing how the direction which world is going, so you have a lot of dynamic things that comes into picture, and you have to be ready for to take the latest advancements. So in that scenario, you will go for agile model, which everyone is already doing it. Okay, so when you have dynamic requirements, when you have dynamic changing requirements, you will go with agile model. When you have static requirements, you will go for waterfall model. It is that simple. So choosing the right agile depends on scope, complexity, time, team dynamics, client expectations. While traditional model like waterfall model with clear unchanging requirements, agile model thrives in dynamic environments, offering flexibility and iterative progress. Okay, the key is aligning which model, business model depends. So basically you have to again, like I said, there are multiple teams that comes into picture, and it mainly depends on the client. If client says I can wait for another 1 2 years 3 years to get my product delivered, then you can go for fallback. But he wants a clear clear one without any issues, then you can go for waterfall model, where everything goes step by step, everything is cleanly checked, and then thorough checking is done there. But if your client is saying you have only 2 months time, and your requirements keep on increasing, and you have to strictly fall on this particular thing, then you can go for agile model, where you can deliver your application in 2 months and keep upgrading based on the changes, based on the priority of the client. Okay, so those things will be dealt. We will see how that is discussed or not, who will take that, who will give us what are the roles that we have in the agile model. Okay, that's about it on the SDLC. I'll come back to uh, this one, right? So, like I discussed, why are we learning these things? It's more of a theory basis. Why are you showing us all these things? Yes, it's a theory basis, but you see it daily. So you have to manage it daily. You have to understand how it goes on daily basis. So that's the whole funda of learning the agile model. So optimizing DevOps and cloud workflows with Scrum and Kanban in agile methodologies. Okay, it is not the end of agile methodologies. Only not only Scrum and Kanban. We have multiple other things. We will discuss about it. So in the dynamic world of DevOps, where cloud computing, efficiency, adaptability are given a bigger importance, so SDLC model stands out. In SDLC model, Agile stands out to its adaptive, so because of its adaptive nature, because of its ongoing advancements. You can actually take those the regular advancements that is happening in the market in a simple and cleaner way to your existing model, right? You don't need to change many workflows to take the newer advancements. So that is where agile comes into picture. Agile is more of a is more than methodology, like have written. It's more of a mindset. Means agile mindset is like you can adapt anything, and you can take any requirement, and you can actually decentralize it, break it into pieces, work on it, deliver it. Okay, quality delivery. Okay, at its core, agile is more of change and delivery value incrementally. So it's all, you can read it. It's again the same story that I've been telling from past 5 to 10 minutes. Agile prioritizes people over process. See, it is more of a process related, and it is more flexible to latest fast paced advancements, technology driven, it mainly plays a key role in delivering a nice and good product to the end customer. Okay, so it has to deal many other things. Yes, you can, so we are humans, we get some errors on the end part, but still we are going to take the feedback from the client. We will work on it. Client could be sometimes a particular company, or it could be say a particular set of users. Okay, like let's say Netflix users are everyone. Like we are watching, we are the users, we are the clients for them. We give feedback on the application portal, and they'll take the feedback and they'll update it. So we are the clients. Sometimes you just deliver it to a particular client where they can use it and work on it. So that's a different story again. Okay, So agile model has multiple things. One is Scrum, the other one is Kanban, Lean, Extreme Programming, Feature Driven Development. We have a few more things, RAD and all, which we don't need to learn about those things. We will only concentrate Scrum and Kanban. Okay, so why Scrum and Kanban stood out of all other models in Agile? So again, in Agile we have multiple models. Why Scrum and Kanban were standing out compared to other things? So Scrum focus on iterative development and a new changes in the requirements, or it is going to accept any dynamic changes that it is given, right? Scrum is more of a development model. Kanban is more of a maintenance model. Okay, what is Scrum, what is development model, what is maintenance model? So development model is something where your application is still in development phase and you're delivering your application to the end user on every sprint basis or every quarterly basis. You're delivering your customer, and still it is going on. So when your changes or when your requirement is changing, when you are working on continuous feedback, and when you are working on all the different stuffs on your application, and your application is not stable enough to deliver it, or it is already delivered but it is still upgrading itself every now and then you can go for a Scrum model. Okay, what does a Scrum model is? Scrum model is mostly used one by all the teams, many of the teams. It structures work into fixed length of iterations, called it as sprints, like I said in the previous blog. So sprints are a time defined uh, space where it can last from 1 week to 4 weeks, and you get those time to complete a certain task. You will be assigned the task for a 2 weeks time period or 1 week time period, or like I said 1 to 4 weeks. You'll be given certain amount of tasks you should complete by the end of the sprint. So we call it as a sprint. So it typically lasting 2 to 4 weeks. Some people work on 1 week, some people work on 4 weeks. So I worked on 2 weeks and 1 week model. Right now I'm working on 1 week model. Previously I used to work on 2 week model. So it doesn't matter. Sprint is something that you get a task assigned and you work on it, and at the end of the week, that 1 week, you have to tell what all you have completed and what are the things that went into backlog items again. Okay, so that's where we see I'm going to show you the Jira as well, the Scrum model Jira. I have created the templates and all. I am going to show you that as well. Please be mindful of that. Okay, and we have Scrum emphasizes role of so each sprint is a mini project. Like I said, each sprint you will get certain amount of goals or tasks you should complete by the end of the sprint, or if you are blocker, if you have any blockers, or if you have any dependencies, then you have to tell it in the meeting that I have been blocked by this team, and I need some help, and the Scrum Master will take that and go to the team, and he will ask them, he will ask some other team to work on it, and then you are unblocked. So that's how this model is been more goal oriented and review driven process. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how these things work. Now Scrum emphasizes more on so in Scrum we have multiple things, multiple roles, like product owner. Okay, so let me show you. This guy is the product owner, who is a mediator between the technical side of the work and the business model. So product owner takes the requirement from the client and he delivers it to the in an understanding way. He'll take it and he will update that, enhance it, and he will tell even more cleaner way to Scrum Masters and design architects. Okay, so he is the one who takes the requirement from the client, and he gives a requirement to the Scrum Masters or the design architects, so they will be working on it. Okay, that guy we call it as product owner. Now Scrum Master reports to the product owner. So there will be not only there, if there is one product owner, there will be multiple Scrum Masters who will be working on cross functional teams. So one Scrum Master so one Scrum Master can work with one team or multiple teams based on his experience and capacity of the team. let's say if there are 100 developers, then he can only work for one team. If there are 10 developers, he can work for development team, he can work for a DevOps team, and he can be working for testing team as well. He can manage three different teams who has 10 people in each. So Scrum Master is the one who makes sure that day-to-day progress is happening, and every on weekly basis or daily basis he is going to send report of multiple cross-functional teams to product owner. Okay, Scrum Master will deliver whatever that is done by the developers, DevOps, and testing teams, or whichever teams involved in that particular application development. So all those team people work will be reported to Scrum Master, or Scrum Master will track the progress of all the tickets or tasks assigned for that particular sprint, and he will be reporting it to the product owner. Okay, also he will be taking once he reports to the product owner sees it, he will take it to the client. He will take the feedback from the client, and he will again give those things to the Scrum Master, and Scrum Master will ask us to update this. This is good, this is still needs some enhancement, this is not working fine. So he will be doing that kind of work. Scrum Master is more of a daily task master, where you'll be taking the progress of day-to-day activities of multiple cross-functional teams. Okay, so we have a development team, so who actually writes the code. There is no need to explain about it. And we have artifacts, which means we have artifacts is kind of a kind of a documentation, or a so basically it is going to help us understand the requirements that we have under backlog. So we put all the requirements in the product backlog, which means to do things, to do task, or to do feature. It could be anything. So we keep all the requirements of our software development lifecycle, which is requirement analysis, design, defining all those requirement analysis under product backlog. And in sprint backlog, we take those product backlog items. Let's say I have 100 requirements in the in the product backlog. So during the sprint of 2 weeks, let's say Monday to alternate Monday. Now within 2 weeks, I have out of 100 requirements, I'll take 10 requirements and I'll assign it to the developers. Okay, so this particular 10 requirements assigned to the developers is called sprint backlog for a 2 weeks sprint. Okay, we are assigning those let's say 10 developers, each requirement to one developer, and he will be working on that particular requirement for 2 weeks, and is going to update his status on the end of the second week on that particular again sprint day. We call it as sprint day, sprint calls and all. Okay, after completing the first sprint, after completing the 10 requirements, the second increment will start, where we will be taking 11th to 20th. Okay, 11th to 20th based on the bandwidth, based on the availability of the developers, based on the existing features and the size of the feature. If it is taking more than 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, then you have to assign that particular feature to one particular developer, and you have to give enough time. It is not like you have to push those developers to work on that particular 2 weeks time period. It is not like that. Developer lead, developer manager, Scrum Master will sit together and understand the requirement and create that time frames. Okay, this can be done in 3 weeks, this can be done in 5 weeks. Okay, based on the right mindset of the developer, developer lead can assign the time frames. Okay, so we have whatever we take after that first sprint, and then we take the next level of requirement in the next sprint, is what called as increment or iterations. Okay, this is where increment comes into picture. Okay, I am not a agile coach, I am not a SDLC this guy. Whatever I have worked on in my previous organizations, with whatever limited knowledge that I have on this particular theory basis, I am just giving it, and I'll show you the ticketing as well. Okay, events. So during this Scrum process, what are the events that we have? Okay, events in the sense, we will be having sprint planning, which we have seen for 1 week to 4 weeks, ranging from 1 week to 4 weeks. It could be anything. So sprint planning, so we will at the end of this, so let's say I am starting my sprint today Monday, and I am planning, I'm giving, I took the first set of 10 requirements and I'm assigning it to the 10 developers, and we are discussing about if they have any questions, or if I want to give any explanation to my developers on this particular 10 requirements, I'll be giving it. So I'll be setting the time frames, I'll be seeing if there is any challenges over here, and if they need any help, you ask particular guy so that they can help, like that. We are going to discuss a lot of things in the sprint meeting. Okay, sprint, we call it as sprint planning. So what does event means? Like Agile has multiple events to complete its complete ecosystem. So the first thing is sprint planning. Then we have daily stand up, we call it as daily scrum for 5 to 10 minutes or 15 minutes based on the team capacity and the team bandwidth, and if there are any blockers, people can talk during that period of time. So in daily scrums, what will happen is, so what all I have worked on previous day to till today, and what I will be working on another half of the day. Let's say I have my sprint planning around, daily scrum at 12 p.m. So what are the things I worked from yesterday afternoon to till today 12 p.m. and what I will be working rest half of the day. Okay, so I'll be telling that if I have any blockers, not only that, if I have any blockers during this process, I'll be asking with the team. So all the members in the team will be available in the call, so we'll be asking them and they'll be helping us out. If there is any other questions other team has and we have knowledge, we can also give the suggestions or recommendations to them. So that is where daily stand up comes into picture. All right, then sprint review. So in today I'm talking about sprint planning. After 1.5 or after 2 weeks, let's say not next Monday, after coming that Monday, so I'll go, I'll have another sprint planning meeting where first I'll talk about sprint review, previous sprint review, which we call it as retrospective. Okay, which we call it as retrospective. After completing the first sprint, okay, which span for 2 weeks, I'll be having one more sprint call where first I'll talk what all the things out of 10 requirements, were we able to complete all 10 requirements, or where we blocked, or where we have what status we have been achieved. So we'll be taking that and we will be seeing that particular week retrospective. So each one of the team members will tell what went wrong, what went right, and how can they improve in the next sprint. Okay, they could have done this thing in a better way. So that's how you improve the efficiency of the developers, efficiency of the different teams, by retrospecting the things, right? You So it is like you have it is like a movie review. Once movie is released, you give retrospective, right? What went, what all the things. So you see, if you see the Telugu reviews or any English movie review, I don't know English movie review, but whenever I see these reviews, uh, good things not went fine. I don't want to tell it as bad. It is not a right word, but what are the good things we have, and what could have done in better way. Okay, or not went well, something like that, and then how we could improve that. Okay, so that's what retrospective or sprint review meeting will happen. And then sprint iteration, once one sprint is completed, then next sprint will start where we take another set of requirements. Okay, so here increment could be I just got one more thing. So it is not about increment on sprint, it is also increment on the requirement as well. Product backlog, let's say first I have given only money transfer app, now I have added insurance also, so that second requirement comes as increment model. Okay, something like that. Now example tools that we use in this process is Jira. Most of the times, 99%, most of the companies use Jira, which is very good tool. It's a product of Atlassian product. This is like Confluence, Bamboo, Bitbucket. So this is an Atlassian product. Issue types under Scrum model. Okay, so let's come back here. Like I said, we have sprints, we have board, and we'll be iterating the sprints over a period of time. Okay, let's see the Scrum model. So under projects, I've created Scrum model and Kanban model. First, let's cover Scrum model. Dismiss the quick start. So if you see here, we don't have any sprint backlog as of now. Okay, first we have to create a product backlog, which I have mentioned here. Where is it? Product backlog. We don't have any product backlog, we don't have any sprint backlog, and we haven't have any. So let's create few of them. I'll take another 15 to 20 minutes to explain and wrap up, because I want to close this particular thing today itself. Okay, so please bear with me. This is sprint 1 and this is the backlog. Let's create some backlog items. Okay. Let me create one issue. So I'll be more of talking about a DevOps related model. Okay, so in Scrum model, what are the things that we do as a DevOps engineer? Okay, so as a DevOps engineer, so for developers it would be little different. So they'll be more working on the coding part and the features updates, new feature updates, existing feature feedback, reviews, all those things they'll be working on. But for us, it is more of the tools upgrades, the image upgrades, then patchings, then infrastructure provisioning, new infrastructure provisioning, new application onboarding. So we all these things comes under Scrum model. So let's say I wanted to upgrade, so one upgrade Nexus 2 to Nexus 3. Okay, so this is one issue. Next, second issue, so infra provisioning for new application. Now, or the other, oh, is it creating Scrum model? Okay, project name says, so the Scrum is something that I have given it as name. Scrum model, just you guys should understand, right? So let's say if the name is like online bookstore, so I would say it would come as online, something like that. The name comes from the project. So this see here, Kanban model KMP, so it comes something like that. Let's say I have another requirement saying want to upgrade Jenkins to its latest version, and then migration of uh, let's say Jenkins to open source Jenkins to cloud base, and then use, okay, let's say I have one more setup a new infra pipeline to deploy to provision infra automatically. This is one, and then I have a couple more. Let's say automation to extract all the nightly jobs that are running on Jenkins. Okay, so let's say I have 6 requirement. Okay, what happened? Oh, okay, not press enter. Okay, so these are my product backlog, which is this one, product backlog. Okay, now in this particular sprint, let's say I wanted, this is the first sprint, so I haven't have any issues as of now. So I'll just take this issue, I'll target this particular sprint. Okay, I'm just adding these sprints to here. I have only three people, so I'll be adding first set of 3 things to this sprint. Now I'll go to dashboard. Let me refresh. Okay, I haven't started the sprint yet, so you won't be seeing this. So if you go to product backlogs, it says start sprint. So today is the Monday, so I'm starting my sprint. Okay, 2-week sprint, this Monday to next Monday, next 20 till 26. Sprint goal to complete the assigned backlog items. Okay, so I'll just start the sprint, and I have started. If you see here, it went to board, and I have given this. Now I can assign it to different people. It is still assigned, unassigned. I can assign to drill DevOps. I mean, this is my previous org. So I'll just assign it to this guy, and I have, let's assume I have one more guy with the same name or different name. I'll just give it, and then I'll give this one more. Okay. So this is about product backlog. Now from this I can create a epic. Okay. These are all product backlogs. These are all product backlogs, and these product backlogs can be divided into bits and pieces. Epic is a bigger picture. Let's say let's take Nexus upgrade. Okay, so Nexus upgrade, you cannot directly apply those changes, you cannot directly apply upgrade your tool from Nexus 2 to Nexus 3, because it's a big change. It's a architecture change, and you cannot directly do it without any proper analysis, right? Nexus is used for storing the artifacts. Once you build your code, you get the artifacts and you store it. So other purpose of using Nexus is to store the dependencies. When you are building the code, your code needs some dependencies from internet. So ideally, we can, in the organization, we should not let our things go outside of our network. So it should be anything within our network. So Nexus will be running within our network. We use Nexus for storing dependencies as well. So in such scenario, you cannot take risk of directly upgrading without proper analysis and proper planning, right? So we have to divide this into bits and pieces. Okay, so let's say I'll go to epics. Where is that? Okay, I have, where is that? I have seen somewhere. Epic. Just now I have seen it somewhere here. Okay, goals. Sprint link issue, add apps to do, given the different, add epic. See here, we have add epic. So let me create an epic. So under Scrum, I have a epic. So see here, epic, user story, bug, task, which I have defined here. Okay, epic will be a bigger picture. Epic can be divided into bits and pieces of user stories, and then user story can be divided into task, and you did the task and you have got some issue, you create a bug, which you call it as this one, bug. Okay, so that's the hierarchy of that. Okay, let me create one this thing. So upgrade Nexus 2 to Nexus 3 is my bigger epic. Okay, assign it to me, and then I can give labels if I need, and then I can give a start date today, and then I'll give the details, blocker if I have any, and if I want to restrict this, I can do that. But for now, I'll just create this epic. I have created a product backlog. From product backlog, I have created an epic. From epic, I am creating a user story. Okay, this is my epic. Okay, upgrade Nexus 2 to Nexus 3 is my epic. Now this particular thing is a can be called as user story or product backlog. Product backlog will have these things only: user stories, the epics, task and subtask will be coming under this one. Tasks and subtasks will come under user story only. User story will be reporting to epic. So you create user stories from the epic itself. So let's say I am going to create one issue. Let's create one user story. Okay, this particular thing comes under this. Okay, now I can create multiple epics, infra provisioning like this, multiple things, and I can attach these epics to one by one. So see here, this is one epic upgrade. So if I create one more epic, if I go here, add an epic, again give the same infra provisioning. create one, view the issue. One second, let me, okay. So this, okay, one second. I can update this only to Epic. Under Epic, create Epic here, infra provisioning, and then create. So I have got one more Epic. So I'll go to project settings. Sorry, I'll go to Scrum model, and I can assign this Epic to this one. Okay. Now you see Epic is attached. Now under Epic, I will be creating user stories. Okay. Let me create those configure. I'll create a user story. First thing is I have to create one user story to upgrade Nexus 2 to Nexus 3, which says research and provide all the changes that had happened between Nexus 2 to Nexus 2 to Nexus 3, which means you have to go to official documentation of Sonatype Nexus, understand the architecture changes, right? From Nexus 2 to Nexus 3, it's a big architecture change. What are the things you have to do R&D, read those things and provide the feedback. Okay, so let's say assign it to me, create it, and this particular user story is attached to you can actually attach that to, okay, view issue. You can attach it to the Epic, this particular Epic. Okay, you see I have attached this particular, and if you go to board, it's not dragged here. Let me go to backlog, it will be available here, research and develop. So I'll take this to put it here, confirm. So now if you go to backlog board, you see it is attached, and it is attached to upgrade Nexus 2 to Nexus 3. And from this thing I can create a subtask. Okay, if I go to here, I have a task. I'll create this task summary, research Nexus 2, first research Nexus 2, and then I can attach this to a particular sprint. Okay, sprint is Scrum, current sprint board, and I can assign this particular thing to Epic, one Epic. Okay, let me create first and then I can attach it. Okay, view issue, maybe later. See, I haven't added any Epic, so I'll again attach this to this one, and this particular thing can be attached to user story as well. Okay, configure sprint, I have attached labels, story point estimate. We can give story points to this, and then assignee can be labels I haven't created. Parent issue, I think here this is where I have to add required. One second, project issue types, sorry, back to project. So sneak test 2. Okay, so this particular thing is attached to this, and basically we can move this to column link issue. Issue is Nexus 2 to Nexus 3. This is Epic. See, this shock symbol is Epic, which is in purple color, and this is in user story. This green color is in user story, and these are backlog items where you can where you haven't provided anything yet, but I'm going to give it to this thing. Okay, I'll link this. Now if you see this, it is attached to main user story. This is subtask. Okay, so if you see the flow, I've created an epic of Nexus 2 to Nexus 3 upgrade. Under that, I have given a research and development of do provide research and provide your documentation on architecture changes of Nexus 2 to Nexus 3. And then to that, I have created one more subtask where I want to first analyze Nexus 2 existing architecture, and then subtask 2 will be Nexus 3 architecture, and both combined together. You report to this thing, update this, and close this particular subtasks. Okay, if the if your scrum master or if your lead is happy with your analysis, you can close it. Okay, how does that work is, so we have these things under to do this. So I'll start with this first task. Okay, so I worked on it, and then I have provided sorry, not blocked, so I'll put it here in progress. I worked on it. So I have provided all the documentation in the ticket. Now I'll send it for review. So my review would be my DevOps lead. Okay, basically lead or peer review will happen, and one who is happy with the review, they will provide the review and they will close it. Okay, whoever does the review, they will close it, or again they will provide some updates to that particular thing, or again they will assign back to the same DevOps engineer who has been assigned, and he will work on it. Again he will send it for review. Again if he is happy with the review, he will publish it to done. Okay, something like that. Again we'll be having one more. So this particular process will happen over a period of time. Now let's say today is 26th. Okay, my sprint time is coming back, so I can complete this sprint. I can do this complete sprint, and a new sprint I can create. Okay, and I can see what all the things that are completed, that have been assigned and completed. Based on that, I'll take the retrospective, what went wrong, what went right, what went wrong, how it can be improved. So Scrum Master can be the one, or within our team, DevOps team will not have a dedicated Scrum Master. So within our team, either DevOps lead or DevOps manager can take a role of Scrum Master, and he will be working on that. Okay, so I have done this sprint plannings and all, so I know a bit of what these things does and how to close the sprints, how to create a new sprint and all. So we can do all such hangama here, and this is called as sprint board. Okay, blocked in progress. Some people can have even more. Developers will have multiple other stages, but for DevOps engineer, this is the bare minimum, and this is fine. Okay, so we can put it in progress, the epics, sorry, and then you have research and development, this one also in progress. Okay, so now we have only two things left, and let's say I have completed I went it for review, and both are completed, and I have upgraded successfully this week. Okay, let's say I'll complete the sprint, and I'll create a new sprint, which is 2 issues open, 3 issues completed. Okay, I'll get a new sprint. See, backlog, start the sprint. Now again this will be sprint backlog. Okay, if you see here, sprint backlog will be there, right? This is product backlog, which is having product backlog will have, these are called as product backlog, and this is sprint backlog. Again these issues will carry to the next sprint. If I start this sprint, it will ask me whether to carry those things, let's say 2 weeks. Okay, I start the sprint, and I have to move those. Again this came into next sprint. See, without, I did not change it, it has come to next sprint, sprint 2. Okay, so this came into the next sprint because those are sprint backlog items. To this backlog items I can add 2 more product backlogs. Okay, because other people are still after completing Nexus upgrade, that guy is still available, so I can take one more issue and assign it to him, and this might be having some progress to it. Okay, so this is something that happens on a real-time DevOps engineer role with the Agile methodologies. Okay, I will stop here. Kanban we will discuss tomorrow. It will take another 15 to 20 minutes. I don't want to drag it. So I hope you understood this session. We call this as a sprint board. Product backlog and sprint backlog are two different things. Product backlog will have all the requirements that we wanted to do over a period of time, or roadmap items. In a DevOps world, we call it as roadmap items that we want to achieve over a period of time. We keep all those things in the roadmap, in the backlog items. We will assign it to the sprint every week, every sprint. Once sprint is completed, if there is any pending items, we call it as sprint backlog, which is carry forwarded to the next sprint. That is what we call it as product sprint backlog. Okay, now increment is something that if I add a couple more backlog items to this, then we call it as sprint increment, which I'm increasing the requirements as well, my roadmap items as well. Okay, so this model in DevOps will work only for things that you are working on the other part of the DevOps, not on the support side, or not on the SRE side, where you work on the alerts, deployments and all. This mainly focuses on the if improving the efficiency of the existing DevOps model, like automating the deployments, automating the infrastructure provisioning, automatically deploying all the application, automatically building the pipelines without manual intervention, provisioning infrastructure, upgrading the versions from one version to another version to be with the market. So you call these things as a development activities in DevOps, where you are working on automations, you are working on new infra provisioning, you are automating the certain things which are done manually. So when you are working in such kind of area, you can put a Scrum model there, where you are mostly working on the enhancement of the existing DevOps ecosystem. So when you are creating a new ecosystem or enhancing the existing ecosystem of DevOps, you can put a Scrum model there. And when you are working on the support part of it, we can call it as Kanban, which I am going to show you tomorrow. So far, if you have any questions, do let me know. I'll be stopping the recording.